Alright guys, how you doing? This is gonna be a Division Tech Run from DZ1 to DZ6. I'm gonna hit pretty much every box that I know of, or at least every box that's in a clean path that doesn't have very much enemy resistance, because avoiding enemies during this run is pretty much the key. You can get it to run as fast as possible. The first box I'm gonna hit is gonna be in the park, right by the extraction. And then the next box I'm going to hit is going to be all the way down towards the bottom right corner where Bonnie or Cowboy spawns in the parking lot next to them. So we'll just watch the run and then I'll come back in. There's not always enemies along the run. Sometimes they really do get in the way, and other times they're just not there. Most of the time I'd actually say they're not there. Fairly often though, down here in 0-1 and 0-2 you will find a load of enemies, which is why I avoid farming down here, and I actually prefer to spawn in the farm in the higher level areas, because there's a lot less enemy foot traffic than there is down here. I feel like this zone's just more populated. So, after hitting the parking lot where Bonnie and Cowboy like to spawn, there's a few other buildings around here that have multiple Division Tech inside of them, and then from there we'll go from 0-3 to 0-6 in one generally seamless run that usually doesn't have any enemies in the way. I'm gonna go back outside and down towards the blockade. I forgot about a box on the scaffolding that overlooks the blockade from behind. I like to come to this one after the building anyway, because if the building's full, then I'll probably just avoid it, and I tend to avoid enemies in general, as opposed to fighting them, especially up in the DZ zones 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're just too much up there when you're by yourself. And I'm going to head to the sports store now, and I actually got really lucky that the sports store was empty. Normally it's not empty, and I'll avoid it because it's not empty. So when I start my routes, I usually just start over by the library. There's a checkpoint that I'll run by to show you where. And even though this building has 4 boxes, sometimes it's not worth it if you're going to have to fight 14 or 15 enemies and take a good 5-10 minutes out of your time just to fight a boss and all of his ads. I mean, if you're with a squad and you're looking to grind XP along with Division Tech, then it's totally worth it, and don't let me stop you. But otherwise, the run is about speed, and taking time to fire any of your ammo takes up time, and you can't afford to lose time when you're going for as much Division Tech as possible, especially before other people farm it. So the library has one box right in front, and it has a key chest by it as well. And I've already run by a few key chests, and those aren't the point of the video. These boxes, this one especially, is usually guarded. I mean, you know, there's always enemies there, and if you're with a squad, you can grind them out, get some Phoenix credits, and then move on. But when you're by yourself and you're trying to just do a run, it's easier to avoid them and come over to this corner building. This building has 3 boxes. I always love coming to this building. And, I think I do get a nice drop in the last box over here. It makes me kind of happy, and yeah, double yellow. Anyway, when I start my run, I usually start over in this checkpoint, or this fence. I come over and spawn right next to this mission, and since it's such a short run over, hop over the fence, come in, go over to the building, grab the boxes, and then I run behind the library. And once I get around the back of the library, I can either visually see or drop a pulse if there's going to be a group of enemies, and then I'll go for the DZ chest and the transition. I'll go for the chest and the Division Tech, and if there's a bunch of enemies, I'll just keep Now, I'm going to go all the way down the block, and this is if you clear out the sports store and you hit the extraction, because you have a bunch of stuff on you, because you did just run all the way up and down DZ0, 1, and 2. There's a tech up here. It's just a little bit down from the safe house. You can grab that box right there, and then you can hit the safe house if you need it. And the alleyway, you can use the alleyway at the end of the street further down from the extraction in the sports store if you're on the other side, just to pop through, and then run down this direction. Grab that box if you came from the other direction. And I usually run all the way down until the library, and you're going to wait a left. Now, yeah, I am going past that landmark, whatever it might be. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. There is a tech and a boss there guarding it sometimes, not always. I just avoid it because if there's enemies there, that means that it could potentially take up your time. And yeah, sometimes you might get lucky, you run by, grab it, and, you know, there's no boss there, and other times you run by, there's enemies there, and you have to double back, and you wasted some time running. So I just cut it out of the run completely, and I come over here to this contaminated zone. Now, there is a mob outside. 99% of the time, there's not a mob. This run was pretty messy for some reason. I did run into a lot of enemies. Most of the time, I don't run into anybody, players or computers. I kind of figured out my own little run to get away from everybody and hit a lot of boxes all at once. I usually hit the alleyway first, and then, no, I don't run past the building. I go back into the building. Now, I guess I got a little flustered over here and just couldn't seem to get over the counter. And then into the door. I had to, in regular motion, that was actually a little bit longer than that. And I had to stop myself in front of the door and say, hey, get in the door. And then normally I run out the north end of the block and then make a left instead of going out the south end and making a right. I'm pretty sure there's no boxes on the parallel side of this road on the left there, and you know, why make the run north any longer than it has to be? So I normally just double back through the building, go up north, cut left, and then wing this right and come all the way up here. I'll grab that one, and then I'll come into the building over here, and there's 4 boxes in this building. 2 on the bottom floor, and 2 on the 3rd or 4th floor up the flight of stairs. The dark zone area is, we're starting to get pretty deep now. I'm not sure if this is 4 or 5 yet. Oh, there goes another transition. Alright, now I'm headed back downstairs. I'm just leaving the same building. I go out the south end of this building and I turn right. I use that little truck front as a reference, and then I cut through this alleyway with the fence, come out and make a left, and there's a rope by a scaffolding, and I'll just take that up. We're starting to get pretty deep into the dark zone now, and the enemies up here, when you're solo, unless you're pretty tanked out, you just don't even want to fight them. If you see them, you might as well just turn around. Yeah, so you have to cut through the back of all these buildings. There's going to be 3 boxes, and it's going to end in the Division Tech building that only has 1 box in it. And this is just going to be coming up through the back side of everything. I like to do my run from the bottom to the top, and then I'll come out of a checkpoint near the top, fast travel back down, and then just do it again. Up here by the Rockefeller Center, This is typically where I run into the most enemies, starting from here and running west across all the blocks. You can see they already started shooting at me, and then I noticed a shotgunner, so I have to drop my heavy defense. And then there's a box right there, which is actually outside of the safe house, and I had to keep running because otherwise a shotgunner would have got me. Their damage is too much. I got lucky that some players were running by, and they ended up picking them off for me. And then here I can show you where that box was. It was just outside the safe house. Then I run into the subway. This is the only time I ever run into the subway. Come in, grab this box. It's down into the subway from the safe house to the right, and then I go straight back and I go to the left from the staircase. And this guy was unfortunately placed. He's almost never there. Like I said, this run had a lot of enemies. And I turn right around, I double back, and I run into this building, and in the back there's another box. And now, across the street, there is usually a box over there, but it's also usually guarded by at least 3 enemies, and they're 32s, and they're no fun. And over through this alleyway, there's usually a couple enemies here too. This is probably the most consistent mob. This mob's probably always here, but if you stick really far to the left and you just run, they never shoot at you. And if you just keep running, they're never going to chase you. At least not as far as you're going to keep running. There's a box in here, and sometimes you can't actually get past this little flatbed right here. There's just too many enemies blocking your way, and you'll just have to double back and go around the block. But there's a box here, and then I like to go north from this position and around all of the pretty much the northernmost corner of the map. If you're too afraid to go over there, if you don't have enough health or armor or anything like that, I would just double back and make a left. There's a fence behind you. Just go through the fence and make a left. Sometimes it's unfortunate there's a shotgunner there, so coming this way is kind of risky. And if you go left, you come up the other end of this alleyway. You can grab this box, and my run, I usually go around so that I can come back out and then just make a left. But you know, you go in, out, come out this way, and we're gonna head towards the extraction point. I don't like to spend a lot of time in this building, mostly because over here in that dead end up and to the right over there, past this fence, there is usually a guy that spots you when you go for this chest, and he's usually a rusher with a shotgun. So sometimes I'll avoid that chest, or at least I'll check it through the fence and try to drop a pulse to figure out how far away the rusher is. And then I'll come inside depending on whether or not there's a chest or whether or not he's there. Run upstairs, grab this, and then you pretty much want to get out of here as fast as you came in. It is an extraction zone, but it's littered with a bunch of enemies, and it's just not worth it. And then after that, you come over here, and then this is going to be the last chest of the run. You grab it, and if you turn around from this spot right here, the church is right across from you, and you're pretty much done with the run. And then from here, just run to a checkpoint and start over.